Hi everyone. So for my project, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between Tableau and RStudio in terms of graphing, and then also perhaps data cleaning as well. The data I'm using is the one that from Titanic data, the Titanic data. I got this from my previous class, and this is the original data. It's in a TXT file. So a couple things I want to do is the first thing I want to do is that there are some invalid entrance in age, for example, like here. So since I'm going to deal with age, I want to remove the entries that has a uh, invalid number in age. So if you try to uh, well if you try to do it with R, that is really simple. You just first you read the data, and then since it has the header function, you can just import the data easily, and then you can just remove the one that doesn't have a valid entry in the age columns. However, if you do it in Tableau, say let's open the Titanic TST file. This is a simple, like you can look at your data right here. This is just a simple outlook of your data. And then as you can see, Tableau is actually not really ideal if you're trying to deal with TXT file. And there, as you can see right here, there are a lot of, for some reason, there are 26 variables. And some of them they just fail to read the data, and then they just separate them into different variable. So this is not ideal. Therefore, most of the time people don't really use Tableau to clean up their data, or to handle those stuff. Instead, what they do is they clean up their data first and then import it in Tableau. That's what I do. So what I'm going to do is I want to remove this and then import the one that I got. I cleaned it through RStudio already. Right here, this is the data we have. So it's pretty clean, and then you have all the entries here. So it's a CSV file. So a couple graph I want to look at. First one is the histogram, and I'm sorry. First one is the bar chart. So the bar chart is pretty simple in Tableau. First thing I do want to mention is you can see data, there's dimensions and measures. So what happened with Tableau is when you import your data set, Tableau automatically convert all your variable into either dimensions or measures. So what dimensions, like what's the difference between dimension and measure? So measure is pretty much where are variables that you can do like mathematical operations. You can sum them, you can subtract them, etc. Dimension is not like that. Dimension serve is more of like a filter kind of a function, like a filter function. So we will see that later on as we use as I try to introduce more graphings in Tableau. Well, first thing, like I said, I want to talk a little bit more about the box plot. I mean, the box. So for the box plot, the one that I'm using is the class. So class here you can see is a measure. If you actually put it here, you just sum all of the class up, since the class are just 1, 2, or 3. So this is not ideal. This just sum up all the class number. It doesn't have any meaning. So what we're trying to do instead is, so here you can see there's columns and rows. So this one thing about Tableau, if you want to plot a graph, how they design is you just put the stuff that you want to show on the row and the one that you want to show in columns, and then it will give you a graph. So in our case, we first want to convert class into dimensions, and what you need to do is you just drag them in there, right here. So you can see you have 1, 2, 3 as your first class, second class, and third class, and then it's right here. And the next thing you want to do is let me try if you're trying to do a Yeah, so pretty much you can just put the class in rows and then also class, I mean, you flip it. So if you flip it, you can see the rows are the count of each class. So what I did is I pull the class into rows and then just do the measure, select count, and then it will show you all the number, all the counts in different class. And then another thing you can do is you can just click this and then it will show the number. If you want to rename your axis, just double click it and then you can just enter number of passengers. So you have a really simple uh, box plot, box chart here. And then the next thing I want to look at is the histogram. So histogram, you have to select the, you have one thing we talk a lot about histogram is the bin size. So right here is actually not too hard to change the bin size. So the one that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use the age group, the age data. So the age data, what you do is you click it here, create a bins. So right here you have a suggest bin size. So it's 5.11. Doesn't make much sense, so I'm just changing it to 5. So it's going to show up of different bins, and the next thing you need to do is you put them up here. And you flip them. As you can see right here, it's not showing us a continuous. It's not really showing us a continuous variable. And then also it's showing the sum because the measures again. So you don't want to do a sum. You want to do a count. And then the bins you want to change it to a continuous. So you have it. So right here is the age group right here, and then so age group from 5 to 10, you have 22, and then you can also do like this. So this is really easy to see. You can change the axis like I said, and then if you want to change the bin size, you can just, oh, sorry, edit, is edit, and then you can just change it to 2. And then this one is the histogram. Next thing I want to talk about is the box plot. So the box plot is even easier in Tableau. Sorry. So what you need to do is select the measures you want to show in box plot. The one that I want is the fare data. Also, really interesting. I want to also select the names. Oh, the names variables on dimensions, and then one thing really I enjoy a lot is the show me button here. So Tableau has all those suggested graphs. After you select the variables you want, they have a lot of suggestions in terms of graphs, and then you can just suggest the one that you want. For example, you can select pie chart, tree map, and then a lot of different things. So for me, I want to get a box plot. So here we have the general box plot in terms of fares. So like I said, since we include names in our box plot, we can actually see the person combining with fares. We can see the person, uh, like the person that had that fare number. So for like I said, right here, the person who paid $512.3 for the fare is Martinez, and then you have all those here. Another thing you can do is also you want to break down into sex. So you simply apply sex here in the columns, and then you have different. This is the box plot for female and male. Another thing you can do is to apply a filter on here. So simply you just drag filter here, you select all the levels, and then you show filter. So right here, this is the legend for Tableau. And then right here is you can select multiple values, or if you just want to, let's say if you just want to look at the first class, there you go. You have a first class box plot divided by 6. And then if you want to combine that with the second class, you can also do that. If you only look at second class, you can also do that. So the filter is more flexible in Tableau, I would say. So you don't have to code and then do a lot of stuff. And then the last one, I was supposed to talk about the mosaic plot. However, I found out that it's actually hard to do a mosaic plot in Tableau. I don't think you can actually do a mosaic plot. However, I will try to show you some substitutions for mosaic plots in Tableau. One of the thing is the stack bar chart. So this for the stack bar chart, what you can do is you can just apply sex on the color. Then you can see there's a legend, and then you can see there are different sex in the stack bar chart. Um, and other things you can do is this really interesting. You can do a different like a panel stack span panel box chart. In order to do that, I want to also show you how to. There's actually coding in Tableau. So one of the example I want to show you is the survival column. So you can see it's actually a dummy variable. So if you want to change that um, into word base like status, you can actually do that here. So you can create a calculate field, which is similar to coding. Like it's the coding side for Tableau, and then similar to Excel, I think. What you can enter survival status, and then you can write if 0, then oh did I already create that? Oh, I'm sorry, I actually already created that from my previous practice. So I mean, pretty much what you can just create it and like code it like this, and then it will show up on the dimensions. So anyway, so since I already created, I'm going to show you what I like back to what I said about panel box chart. So in terms of call, you pretty much can just add this like sex. You can add sex into columns, and then it's going to show you like you have two cuts like we discussed, similar to what we discussed in mosaic class. So you have first, second, third class, and then each class you also break it down into female and male. It's one thing. You can also add a survival status. So survival status, just add another cuts on it. So this is, I would say, this is really similar to mosaic plots, and then this one of the, I think it will be one of the really good substitution for mosaic plot. You can still add more. I think, yeah. So you have some node data, but you get the idea. You can just break it down into a lot of different panels. So I think this pretty much wrap up my project in the Tableau side. So thank you all for watching. I hope you can actually have a look at what how to graph in Tableau, and then some of the difference between graphing in Tableau or and R. Thank you for watching.